Hello, this is NPR's Book of the Day. I'm Chloe Veltman, filling in for Andrew Limbong this week. Before we get into today's interview, though, I want to note that October 1st is a historic day. It's the first day in over half a century that NPR and our member stations around the country are operating without federal support. Things may feel uncertain, but here's what is certain. Public media endures, and you'll still find us here telling stories that matter. We are committed to continuing this journey alongside you, our audience. Now, to today's episode. Many friendships come and go. Someone you're pals with one year may not show up on your holiday card list the next. And then there are those that endure for decades. Angela Flournoy's The Wilderness deals with the latter category. Her new novel captures the long-term relationships between a group of Black millennial women and what happens to the dynamics as the women move into middle age. In this interview with NPR's Juana, the author says the characters in her book aren't just navigating their relationships with their friends, but also with the changing world around them.
This message comes from Schwab. At Schwab, how you invest is your choice, not theirs. That's why when it comes to managing your wealth, Schwab gives you more choices. You can invest and trade on your own. Plus, get advice and more comprehensive wealth solutions to help meet your unique needs. With award-winning service, low costs, and transparent advice, you can manage your wealth your way at Schwab. Visit schwab.com to learn more.
For many of us, the family we choose for ourselves is just as significant, perhaps even more so, than the one that we're born into. And that's the case for the group of Black women at the center of Angela Flournoy's new novel, The Wilderness.
You know, when we talk about chosen family, it's not that you chose them once and you're stuck with them. The thing about people not related to you is that you tend to have these moments where you have to keep choosing. You have to keep choosing, whether it's because you move away or because your lives are just sort of diverging. You have to keep choosing to be a part of this friendship.
The book traces the lives of four friends, Desiree, Nakia, Monique, and January. They change and grow over the course of 2 decades, recommitting to each other as they enter different stages of adulthood. There's also a key relationship Desiree can't recommit to after we first meet her. It's the relationship with her biological sister. Angela Flournoy told me why she explored the dynamics of deep bonds and estrangement in this book.
I've always been interested, kind of alongside the deep, like decades-long friendships and connections. I've also been interested in the ways that people just cut family members off. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to think about the beginnings and what it feels like to have a kind of rupture with someone you love or you grew up loving, and for it to kind of just bloom into this insurmountable distance between the two of you. And so that is another, in addition to these friendships, there's this fifth person, this fifth woman, Danielle, who's Desiree's sister, who kind of is on the margins of the story for much of the story because they are not in communication, the two of them.
Yeah. So there are the sisters, Desiree and Danielle, but there are also several other women who are part of this group of friends, this chosen family who have loved and grown up along each other over the years. What is it important for us to know about them?
I would say that the things that are important to know about them is that they are people who have experienced really the same things to different levels and from different sides the last 20 years of American life that we've all experienced. That is the positives and the not so positives, and it has really shaped them in very particular ways. Just being here, being in the cities that they live in, which is Los Angeles and New York in different periods of time, but also being on the internet that we live, mm-hmm. With, maybe we live on too much,
right.
How it has shaped them. There was a period of time when I thought I was going to title this novel The Millennials, kind of being a little cheeky, but also sticking a flag in a demographic that people don't necessarily associate with, Black women. But I thought that a lot of their experiences, though there's a lot that's particular to them just being Black, a lot of it also has to do with them coming of age in the late 2000s after the housing crisis and recession and growing alongside social media. There's a lot that is very particular to when they came of age that colors their experiences in the novel.
What led you to change the title and to name it instead The Wilderness?
Well, a lot of people in my life were they were thinking, well, not everybody likes millennials. Some people might be turned off. And I thought, well, maybe they'll hate read it and then I'll win them over. But I also thought that there is something it's very specific as far as in our contemporary moment, but there's something universal about the experience of navigating middle life or into middle life, which is that there are just a lot fewer guideposts. You can go to college or not go to college. There's some ways when you're getting out of adolescence to figure out, you just, at first and foremost, pay your bills. It's like very easy. What do I need to do to pay my bills? But to feel you have a satisfied life or you're satisfied in your life as you enter middle age, that is really on you. You've got to navigate what might feel just completely opaque by yourself in a lot of ways. They're the sort of fellow travelers, but you have to decide what is it going to feel like, what is going to feel satisfactory to you. And that is what I think about when I think about the title, is these women are navigating the wilderness.
I do have to ask, and this is a little personal, but I think we're both probably in that same sort of age cohort, that coming into middle age, late 30s, early 40s. How did writing these characters, their journeys, their time in the wilderness, how did that make you reflect on your own life in this phase?
So many different ways. I think mostly I thought about what will it sort of take for me to feel like a grown-up? Like, what will it take for me to feel like I'm the one who has, like, the authority, like I have the knowledge? And there's these things that come along, and they're supposed to be the moments, whether that's because you have a child or because you get the fancy title at work. But I think outside of those things, because you and I probably both know people who on paper, they look like grown-ups, but then if you talk to them, they don't think they've got it together or they've reached that point in their life, right? And I think it has to do with, like, a true sense of grounding, whether that is you're feeling grounded in your community, whether that's because you're feeling grounded in your professional life, but something that feels like, well, people could take away a lot of things from me, but they can't take away, like, this feeling. And I think that is something that the people in the book are really searching for. And to various degrees, I think some of them find it, even if it's very fleeting.
When I started doing research for this interview, I read this old profile of you from BuzzFeed, and it was written back in 2016, around when you would have been starting work on this book. And in that profile, you make this observation that the only people who really understand Black women, or even care to understand Black women, are Black women ourselves. We see our own complexity and our own potential in a way that others either don't recognize or don't care to recognize. And you also make the point that the awesomeness of being a Black woman isn't really explored in literature. I wonder, do you still feel that way?
I absolutely think that there is a way that most people, since 2016, I'll say there's been, like, an interesting reversal where, for some reason, in some circles, Black women have become these kind of, like, superheroes. Like, we're going to save democracy. We're going to be the ones who always vote appropriately, et cetera. And that also just does not feel like giving people full humanity.
Right.
So I think probably more than thinking about, like, the full awesomeness of Black women, what I was seeking and what I always am sort of charging myself with in my fiction is just the full complexity. And I do think that there are many writers now that are providing those portraits. Many of us have, like, really deep intellectual lives, and that's something that I tried not to shy away from in this book, was just showing that these women, they don't just have deep emotional lives, but they are, thinking about the world. They're thinking about art. They're thinking about things that are bigger than just reactions to circumstances.
Angela Flournoy's new novel is The Wilderness. Angela, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Support for NPR and the following message come from Boll & Branch. Turn your bed into a sanctuary this fall with their buttery, breathable bedding. Enjoy 15% off your first set of sheets at BOLLandbranch.com with code NPR. Exclusions apply. This comes from NPR sponsor Sierra. How businesses connect with customers defines their brand. Sierra is the platform for building better, more human customer experiences with AI. No stock answers, no hold music, just real solutions fast. Visit Sierra.ai to learn more. Support for NPR and the following message come from Boll & Branch. Turn your bed into a sanctuary this fall with their buttery, breathable bedding. Enjoy 15% off your first set of sheets at BOLL and branch.com with code NPR. Exclusions apply.